Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar. We will get started momentarily. We have just a few housekeeping items. We want this to be an interactive session, so please use the Q&A icon to ask your questions, and we will answer throughout the session. We are recording today's session, and all attendees will receive a link to the recording later today. Thank you for attending, and now I will hand this over to Bill Butrin from AFS.
Thank you, Renee, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today for this webinar. We're excited about today's agenda, where we will discuss the latest trends and opportunities in syndicated lending. Our conversation will feature Luther Klein, partner at KPMG, along with his colleague, Niam Ahmed. They'll be sharing an overview of the syndicated lending landscape and the technological innovations shaping its future. We're also honored to have Todd Lupke here, Senior Director at Synovus. He'll be discussing how Synovus tackled syndication challenges and modernized their syndications and commercial lending platform. And finally, Jennifer Otto, the Director here at AFS, will offer an inside look into AFSVision's innovative approach to syndicated lending and the features we have for streamlining processes. We're looking forward to an interactive session, so as Renee mentioned, please use the Q&A icon to ask your questions for the panel. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Luther.
Bill, thanks so much. And I'm Luther Klein, partner with KPMG and run our commercial lending practice. Really excited to be here today as the syndication market is evolving rapidly across the marketplace, whether it's as a result of the influx of private equity deals, the influx of credit, as well as kind of the demand that our customers are asking as it relates to kind of this particular product and the scale of this product. It's increasingly important as we look across the mid-sized banking marketplace. And a lot of our customers, similar like customers, are really using or kind of have as we look at modern platforms and modern tools, are really driving a lot of decisions and a lot of capabilities across this space. And so we're excited to be here today to kind of walk through not only the market trends, but what are we seeing banks and platforms do in your size marketplace? Where are they investing? Where are they focused? And how are they getting value in the syndication market? And so I'll pass it off to Niam, who's kind of my colleague and kind of driving this space for us to walk through some of these trends, as well as we'll walk through some of the evolutions in the market. Niam?
Yeah, thank you, Luther, and hello everyone. My name is Niam Ahmed, partner at KPMG in our banking and capital markets practice. Nice to be here. So like Luther mentioned, there's obviously a lot of things we're seeing in the marketplace. What you see here on your screen, a lot of what's driving the growth obviously is the credit rate environment right now, the rates. Private credit is something we can't sort of skip past when we think about sort of what's happening in the syndicated lending world. It's a little bit of a push and pull there between what they're doing and how they're growing exponentially and what that means for banks on the other side of that equation, right? I think what we're seeing is more sort of creative deals in terms of covenants and structures and how deals are being created and structured. And there's implications, obviously, of how that plays out in the business and operations and technology landscape that we'll talk to in a little while as well. I think in operations, like Luther mentioned, we talk a lot about just efficiency as deals get larger, as firms like yours are looking to scale into the syndicated world. What does that mean? Again, with the age of AI and things that are happening within AFS and other places, how are you going to be able to take care of the technology sort of innovation in that space to help? And then there's market utilities in the space, right? So I think if you watch the space, it's a fragmented landscape when you think about all the players and utilities that are available in the syndicated loan marketplace. So it's not generally a one-stop shop when you think about all the tools and utilities that are available to you as an institution. But just looking at that landscape, the number of new startups, fintechs, and utilities that are rising in the marketplace, it signals, right, that there's a growth in the business and there's a demand for solutions in the marketplace. But with that comes a lot of choices and options to consider for you. So that's kind of what we'll talk about a little bit in the next slide here as well. So when we sort of think about, how firms are thinking about scaling their syndicated loans business, we think about it as sort of these three pillars, right? Your pillar one here is around operating model. And there's obviously the core platform, and then there's workflow. And we'll talk to all three of these as we go through it, right? So when we think about syndicated loans, it's somewhat different than bilateral loans. If traditionally you've been a bilateral shop and you're looking to get into the syndicated marketplace, there's a changing dynamic there, right? You're moving from a borrower-lender relationship to now a three-way relationship, right, between the agent and the participants in the syndicate, as well as the borrower. And that has an exponential sort of impact across your business and operations model. So thinking about the operating model, thinking about how risk and governance and data and technology all plays out is a key consideration for firms that are looking to grow their syndicated lending book of business. So what we're seeing with our clients is really first and foremost thinking about the operating model in their loan operations world, thinking about how that operation model needs to evolve to account for syndicated lending, and how do you want to scale your systems and processes and risk and governance around that. Core platform, I think that's why we're all here on this call here today. So we'll touch on that in a minute, but obviously that's key. Not all loan systems are designed to necessarily handle syndicated facilities, right? So systems and platforms that can handle syndicated deals, that are built for syndicated deals, like AFS, are key to your considerations as you're looking to grow the book of business around syndicated loans. And for those who are curious as to why we put workflow here, in our journey, as we've helped banks of similar size to yours go through this journey, what we tend to find, right, is that there's a tendency to kind of just scale your traditional lending business and operations to the syndicated side. What quickly comes to light, though, is that there's an exponential impact, like I mentioned, when you go syndicated, right? You've got the agents to worry about. You've got the participants in the syndicate to worry about. You've obviously got the borrower. You've got a lot of front to back sort of coordination between your front office, your credit, your middle office, and the back office. And what happens in a syndicated deal is really all of that starts to exacerbate. And there's a lot of operational overhead, and with that cost and efficiency implications come into play. So to think about workflow and the operational efficiency as part of your starting journey in the roadmap, when you think about expansion into the syndicated world, is a key part, and we think key enough to be called out as a pillar in and of itself. Now, there are obviously key platforms out there in the marketplace that have thought of this and have built that workflow into the core platforms. So I think that's another part of the consideration when we think about workflow and platforms that go hand in hand together. And depending on the choices you make there, that's what really will inform your operating model as well. Right, Luther, anything else to add there?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would also want to add is really, I think, to bullet 2 on the core platform innovation space, which, we're seeing across the marketplace a tremendous level of innovation across digitization, as well as the integration landscape. So Naam had mentioned Versana and other toolkits that on the front end, on the origination side, and the core has been, we're seeing tremendous innovations in the core space. AFS has done numerous upgrades over the last year or two in driving, both integrations, automation with workflow, and then, potentially with the roadmap. I think you may have seen on an earlier version of the Navigator tool that we've been partnering with AFS on around the Gen AI suite. So there's a lot of moving parts in the space and a lot of new innovations to drive, 1, speed to market, 2, cost efficiency, and 3, scaling your overall solution to meet your clients' needs. So Naam, anything you wanted to add there on core?
No,
If not, I will pass it over to Bill, or back to Bill, as as it gives you at least a flavor of what we're seeing in the market and where the technology and market innovations are that are just trying to keep pace with the market demand. Bill?
Thank you, Luther, and great comments on the market there. We appreciate your participation and that of KPMG. Consolidation wave among large and mid-sized regionals really is reshaping the syndicated lending landscape, as you both had mentioned. As balance sheets grow, so does the market opportunity for regional banks. And regional banks are no longer just participants. They're stepping up as lead arrangers and running agency services shops. This shift unlocks new fee income streams, enhanced risk diversification, and active roles for our clients in the secondary market eventually. With this greater opportunity comes greater complexity, and that's where AFSVision steps in, empowering banks to manage the full life cycle of syndications with precision, agility, and confidence. Our client spotlight today is with Todd Lupke from Synovus. Synovus recognized the strategic value of leading syndicated deals and turned to AFSVision to make that vision real. Under Todd's leadership, Synovus successfully implemented AFSVision, which is now fully in production. Todd's journey reflects a broader trend, forward-thinking regional banks leveraging technology to take advantage of opportunities in syndicated lending. His experience offers valuable insights into implementation best practices, operational impact post-launch, and lessons learned from transitioning into lead arranger roles. We believe Todd's story will resonate with peers navigating similar opportunities, and we're excited to share it. So I'll start off with a question for Todd. Todd, can you talk about Synovus's bank profile in terms of how it fits into what I was just describing?
Yeah, Bill, I mean, it's a great question. I think it resonates with a lot of the peers, and the topics we talked about is, not really a new theme but how do commercial banks diversify their income streams through non-interest revenue, whether that be cash management, treasury services, derivatives, swap products, lead arrangers / syndications fees. It's really commercial banks, not a new theme, is how do we increase those revenue streams? But specifically on this is, what is the product that most banks always lead with, commercial banks? Well, that's loan, right? That's deploying debt capital. So as we think about, hey, that opportunity, it's how can we then continue to leverage our primary product, deploying debt capital, and doing that up potentially the value chain of larger credits, and then to increase that non-interest revenue of lead arrangers, syndication fees. Different institutions utilize different nomenclature. So that's been a significant theme that we've seen in our space, and I'll call it the mid-sized regional, over the last probably half dozen to 10 years. So we've continued to invest in those capabilities, and what that does, it has really a continuing momentum of, hey, these are our clients that are serial issuers in the capital markets, and being in really, I'll call it that pole position, allows those banks to continue to earn that business, generate those non-interest revenue fees for the bank, which is very, very meaningful, especially for a bank our size.
Thanks, Todd. This is the theme we hear about often with banks. As they're entering the syndications business and building up that line of business, reputational risk becomes a factor and is super important. In other words, if early transactions don't go smoothly, you can lose your ability to originate or your ability to access your distribution network, because there are, of course, other competing agents. So a key component in growing the business is making sure you can support all those details throughout the life cycle. Todd, you described your bank profile and you identified that you had a need for a platform. Can you now describe your selection process?
Yeah, Bill, we've been on now, I'm going to say, a continuous journey. We've successfully deployed AFSVision, putting additional converting legacy portfolios, but I think we're still on the journey. But going back to really those beginning months, we did kind of look to scan the marketplace. Obviously, I think many of our peers and on the phone or out there had a good understanding of those key players. We went kind of broad and wide at the beginning, spoke to some, I'll call it fintechs, realized they really were not mature, did not have the capability. So really understood that we needed to kind of come to a proven partner. And I think that's a good keyword, not vendor, partner, that AFS has continued to show us in looking at, hey, who is the right partner to help us along this journey, knowing that every institution has a different business model. Every institution has a different tech stack. Every institution has a different kind of journey and how that fits into the place. So that's really where we started, and looking at our peers and AFS absolutely, was the right choice, and we were very pleased and successful in making that. I'll add, Bill, people often ask, like, how did you come to that? Well, it's never really a black and white decision. Every institution, it's very complex, lots of moving parts, but I'll share a couple of the primary factors that we came to is, we saw AFS's proven track record, a continuous investment in their technology, which I think is extremely paramount as it's a very dynamic market, especially in the syndicated markets. So having a partner, a vendor that can kind of adapt and deploy those changes within the software is very key. This specific application was very, fit into our ecosystem and infrastructure, is very complementary. We are also confident in AFS's ability with the implementation and deployment. And then I'll say probably one of the key points, especially for folks on this call, is peer recommendations. Our best kind of advice or our best feedback is just talking to peer banks. And AFS had a very, very complimentary track record, which gave us more confidence as we went through the selection process.
Well, that's all great to hear. And you kind of half answered my next question already, Todd, but I'll get it out there and maybe there's a little more to say. So how did AFS stack up when you were doing your evaluation? Because as you mentioned, a lot of people in this audience are in similar types of evaluations or they're approaching them in the near future. So what was your experience there, if you could elaborate a little more?
Absolutely, Bill. And we were like many firms, we were very intentional with a very formal RFP process going through. We actually, one of the things we did that was very unique, and as Bill knows my story, I've been on multiple sides of the capital markets position, leading, arranging deals, being on the backside, closing, then facilitating the post-close service. So we actually were very intentional in our RFP of actually giving real life use cases that we had observed, and then actually having AFS come in and we wanted to demo. And we got, as Bill can probably appreciate, we got pretty deep, pretty wide, pretty quick on these use cases, because this is what we see every single day as either the agent bank or even we're participating as a member. So we really wanted to get to that level of depth and understanding with a cross-functional team, both from our business operations, technology, saying, hey, how can we make sure we're evaluating the vendors and AFS in the most comprehensive? And to that point, those were some of the key points of look at the functionality, look at the ability to navigate all these different use cases, which get very nuanced in the syndicated corporate markets, and very, I would say repetitive, but very sometimes unique in nature. And those were some of the factors where we continue to kind of evaluate across the landscape and the life cycle of the loan, where AFS continued the functionality, the ease of use, the technology downstream impacts, the data architectures. We looked at it, always continuing to rise above our peers, and in aggregate, a very clear decision for us. I won't say it was easy, Bill, but I'll say, it was definitely clear, and we're very pleased at our selection process and how we've continued to go forward.
Well, thanks a lot for that, Todd. And you make it pretty clear that the devil really is in the details, and you need to work with people who are comfortable getting into the weeds.
Hey, Bill, it's Renee. Before we move on, I do have a couple of questions for Todd. May I ask?
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
Great. So a question we have here, Todd, is what operational efficiencies or improvements have you seen from implementing the new system for syndications?
That's a great question. I think we've seen it in several capacities. One of the things we've looked at is within the AFSVision, there's some inherent, I'm going to call it maker checker functions within the workflow capacities. Many of our AFSVision clients understand what I'm talking about. If you're not, you'll probably have a good understanding. So that has really been able to having some very, very defined workflows, and I'm going to use the word guardrails, Renee, has really provided efficiencies of just limiting that risk, limiting that, hey, having to swivel chair to an outside system, an outside application to do and perform the work for very typically large dollar, sometimes large, complex, multiple facility loans. That's kind of, I would say, probably one of the key tenets that we've seen. Also from an efficiencies, if you think about an agent bank, and some banks will call them club deals, some other will call them syndicates. If we're leading a deal with, I'll call it 5 to 6 banks, you've got to be very active in terms of sending out notices, payments. Well, typically many of our peers that don't have a application like AFS, you're doing just that. You're swivel chairing to other outside applications to create invoices, send those emails. You think about 5 banks creating an invoice, sending it out. That might be 10 to 15 touches. With AFS, we've been able to reduce that to probably less than 4. That is significant in terms of just the turn times, the not able to swivel chair into other applications. So those are just some of the examples that I would say have been very meaningful. And then Renee, in silos, some of those might seem, very, very, I'll call them small needle movers, but in aggregate, that's actually a pretty large needle moving activity from an application that can give us that functionality and those efficiencies.
Great. Thanks, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
We do have another question from the audience. It's what's next for Synovus in terms of expanding syndicated lending capabilities?
Renee, I'll tackle that from 2 perspectives, maybe from a strategic and then maybe a short term. So many of our peers, if you haven't realized, on July 24th, Synovus announced a merger with Pinnacle Financial Partners that we expect to close in Q1 of next year. So when you think just kind of strategic, that really almost doubles our balance sheet. So the opportunity is potentially for us to lead larger debt capital raise is absolutely an opportunity for us. Obviously we're working through a lot of details, but that's really a strategic standpoint of, hey, that's where we can go as a new company in Q1 of next year. And I would say kind of from the short term within the application, it's really kind of, I would say, continued reps, muscle memory that we continue to see every single day. And what does that give us? We talked about operating model with our KPMG colleagues. Well, that gives us the ability to really observe and recalibrate our processes in real time, and then actually make the necessary changes within our overall operating model. Midterm, I would say, listen here, we have some integrations that we haven't turned on. One of those is we worked very diligently with AFS was wires. Well, we haven't turned that on because we focused on some near-term things, but that's also something that we're looking to really deploy here in early 2026. And then long-term are some of the themes: deeper integrations with core systems, how we leverage additional technology capabilities, whether our RPA, AI is absolutely on the table as we continue to think about, hey, how do we expand those capabilities?
Great. Thanks, Todd. Those are all the questions we have so far. I'm sure we'll get more throughout the session. So Bill, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Renee. And those were great questions, Todd. I like the fact that you brought up workflows. That was also a key part of KPMG's presentation that preceded our talk. And, this is something that is very key to the AFSVision user interface, that we're very workflow oriented. And I also like the fact that we kind of highlighted needing a platform to support long-term strategic growth. It's hard to grow and get scale without a platform that can keep up. So appreciate your comments there. And of course, there's lots of reasons to pursue automation. We're all on this call, seeking those kinds of things. More efficiency is the obvious one, but as we think about it more, you get improved controls, less friction, enabling higher transaction volumes, and more meaningful work for our future workforce. So all these things kind of converge to create a real demand for platforms that can support this business. So thanks, Todd, for all that interaction. It's now time for Jennifer Otto to walk us through some key syndications capabilities that AFS has to offer today. I'm going to hand it off to Jennifer now.
So, in the interest of time, we pre-recorded a video with the highlights of AFSVision syndications. Following the video, we will open it up for questions. Without further ado, here is the video. AFSVision Syndication Servicing Innovation. Today, I am thrilled to share some exciting highlights from AFSVision, a powerful loan processing system designed to support the entire life cycle of both bilateral and syndicated deals, all on one platform. Today, we are going to focus on some of the syndication servicing innovation features of AFSVision. Standout features of AFSVision syndications is the Message Center, which not only facilitates seamless deal navigation, but also captures timely alerts that can be sent to your smartphone or email, ensuring you stay updated about your deals and your borrowers, even if you are on the go, because you can access AFSVision even on a smartphone or an iPad. Over to the left of the screen, you can see sample alert messages in AFSVision Syndications. Additionally, AFSVision Syndications includes a job list, which provides one place where you can go to manage upcoming activities such as repricings, payments, and advances. AFSVision helps you manage work through work packages shown here on the job list. You can also expand the job list by selecting the icon. You have the ability to display the work packages on the job list through queries. These work packages can be generated by user entry or automatically through automated business events, also referred to as ABE, ensuring that no transactions are overlooked. Another great innovation is the ability to see work in progress using the integrated dashboards. These configurable real-time charts help you as a user or you as a manager to visualize the upcoming activities. For example, you can see in the bottom left grid is the syndications workload. If I were to select the deal maintenance bar assigned to myself, these are all of the deal maintenance work packages that are in my job list. Lastly, a feature that has been built into AFSVision is the obligation viewer. This feature allows the user to see in a graphical format the various aspects of the facility that has been booked to the platform. These types of innovations make setting up the syndications deal and servicing it much easier, as well as ensuring accuracy, as you can see here. So we have the highest level revolver with the information, moving down the revolver, as well as the swing line, and then finally the loans and the letters of credit that are issued. These are just some of the ways in which AFSVision makes syndication servicing easy and transparent. Streamlined workflows ensuring scalability and efficiency. AFSVision Syndications is highly scalable, supporting unlimited members, facilities, and loans for all syndicated deals. It accommodates agented, non-agented, and participated deals, making it a versatile solution for whatever aspects of the syndicated business you are servicing. Whether you have just a few participants or hundreds of participants in a deal, AFSVision can efficiently and effectively handle the volumes. Now let's dive into the various types of AFSVision work packages you can use to manage the syndications tasks as you saw from the job list. They are deal pipeline, deal maintenance, repricing, and assignments. These work packages bring tremendous efficiencies to the workload. All necessary steps are included in the work package, which guides the users to input the required information. There are built-in guardrails and validation routines that ensure accuracy and prevent rework that may occur today as a result of data quality issues. As you can see in this view, the bolded and asterisked words are all of the required fields identified as guardrails. The best thing about the work packages is that they can be built out in a pending state, allowing the users to enter information as it becomes available. So there is not a rush at the end of the day or month, as they can be backdated, current date, or future dated once a work package is executed from a pending state. All of the transaction information is captured in AFSVision. There are tremendous efficiencies that can be gained using these work packages. The deal pipeline work package supports the boarding of new deals. Each highest level facility can have different obligors with varying pro rata percentages. The entire hierarchy can be built with the holders of record, administrative roles, sub-facilities, loans, swing lines, letters of credit, both accruing and flat fees, and interest, all in the fraction of the amount of time it would take on a core platform. The deal maintenance work package supports daily activities such as advances and payments. AFSVision creates individual obligations for each syndicate member, allowing transactions to be edited or to default to the billed amount or pro rata percentages. Is the pro rata. Notices to members and customers are generated automatically by AFSVision and can be sent directly via email or fax. The wires can also be sent as a result of the transactions built in the work package and an integration with the bank's internal wire system. You do not have to leave AFSVision to re-enter the data to complete these transactions. Selecting notice history will show you the notices that have been sent, to whom they were sent, and a copy of the notice as well. Repricing allows you to update pricing information and perform financial transactions, such as new loans, principal or interest payments, capitalizing interest payments, or balance transfers. These work packages can be queued up automatically based on the information in AFSVision and the automated business events ABE feature I mentioned earlier. The point about work packages is that they are governed by role-based security within AFSVision, which enforces segregation of duties. Based on how you configure the system, you can have multiple touches that ensures no person can complete monetary transactions without the proper approval by a second or third set of eyes. Seamless loan sales. Now I would like to share some exciting insights about how AFSVision syndications can streamline the syndicated trading process from trade date through settlement date. AFSVision Trader Workstation captures all essential trade information seamlessly. As you can see by the screen, we've incorporated the guardrails into Trader Workstation by identifying those required fields. When entering a trade into AFSVision, it allows for the trade to be allocated to multiple funds and automatically calculates any related fees, such as delayed compensation, cost of carry, or economic benefit. This ensures accuracy and consistency throughout the trading process. The system also updates trades when financial transactions are input by utilizing the syndication servicing work packages of deal maintenance and repricing. As trades progress to the settlement stage, they are transferred from Trader Workstation to an assignment work package, which can be viewed in your job list. This work package generates the funding memo, which is then recorded in notice history, just like other servicing notices. As you can see on the funding memo, we capture the loan information, the fee information, as well as the calculations associated with those fees. Once an assignment work package is executed, the balances are updated in AFSVision by decreasing the assignors' positions and increasing the assignees' positions. AFSVision also tracks all assignment history information at the deal level, the deal obligor level, as well as the obligation level. An assignment work package can be entered either manually by a user or automatically by settling a trade. This flexibility ensures that our trading operations remain efficient and adaptable to your needs. Sophistication to enable top-tier agency services and reporting. If your organization is looking to grow and become a top-tier agent, AFSVision is the system that will get you there. Within AFSVision Syndication Servicing, we capture all of the information once the pending work packages are completed. AFSVision does an incredible job of tracking each obligor individually along with all related information. This feature is particularly useful when providing expert service to our customers and the syndicate group. Whenever questions arise, you'll have all the data you need at your fingertips. Additionally, AFSVision offers some handy tools such as printable inquiries, which are captured at various levels of the hierarchy. As you can see here, we're on the obligation level. And here is a sampling of the obligation-related printable inquiries. Printable inquiries allow you to export information in a PDF format. The balance activity grid at the charge level is a great resource. I will select one of my members, select the loan, and I'm able to export the activity related just to that member's position for that loan. So this is for Citibank, their 1 month SOFR, and it shows how their interest was calculated. If the balance increases or decreases, or the rate changes, all of that information will be captured. Another useful resource feature is the holders of record reporting. This allows you to group information by a given deal or obligor. I'm going to select a sample report, which is all holders of record for a deal. I'll search for a given deal. I'll select Syndicated. Click accept. The report can be exported, backdate, or current date. You can sort the information by all holders of record, including administrative roles, or just those that hold a position in the deal. So I have exported the information to my Excel spreadsheet. You can see I have my facilities and my holders of record. Going across, it shows you all related information, such as their percentages, their commitment, used and unused, as well as any pending transactions. Now I'll search based on the deals for a given holder of record. So I'm going to search for a fund manager to show you how we can group information with a fund to fund manager relationship. Again, it can be backdate or current date. And you'll see now that I have all holders of record across deals. So the Aries fund manager is representing these two funds across multiple deals. This allows you to see how much their commitment is, their outstanding, as well as any pending transactions. It is this level of sophistication and capability that banks are looking for if they want to become players in the syndicated space. Thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure to walk you through the various syndication stages and to showcase the capabilities and benefits of AFSVision. I know that with AFSVision syndications, we can achieve great things together. Thank you.
All right, Jennifer, thanks for that great video. We do have a couple of questions here that if from the audience, if you have a few minutes to answer.
Sure, great, thank you.
How long has AFSVision Syndications been live in production?
Great question. AFSVision Syndications has been in production since 2012.
All right, great. The next question is there a product roadmap for AFSVision Syndications?
Absolutely. We discuss our roadmap items with our syndication user group during our monthly meetings, where we provide them the opportunity to weigh in on the priority of the items as well as the development. So we're very interactive with our users to ensure we're meeting their needs.
All right, and our last question so far, as I'm looking to see if there are others coming in, does AFS participate with the LSTA?
Absolutely. We're very involved with the LSTA. We go to meetings regularly with them, and we're also a sponsor at the annual conference in New York City on October 22nd. So it'd be great to see the folks on the call today there. If you are, please stop by and say hello.
Great. Well, I'm looking at the chat and the Q&A, and it looks like we've gotten all of our questions. So I will just finish up here. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. And as noted at the beginning of the webinar, we recorded today's webinar, and we will be sending a link to the recording tomorrow so that you can watch it again or share with a colleague. Additionally, if you would like to get a deeper look at AFSVision and our syndications capabilities, please email me, rcody@afsvision.com, and we'll get something set up. I will make sure that that email address is in the email that we send out to you as well. So with that, I don't see any other questions, so we would like to wish you a good rest of your day. Thanks for joining.